And a very good afternoon to everyone there out in Facebook world. Just wanted to give you another happy start to the coming week, or an end to the previous week. We have an exciting show and a lot to cover. Okay, so in addition to our regular weekly updates where we go through all of the different things that are happening around Singapore, we also have the second part to how to plan your itinerary. Okay, so this is the second and the final part, and it is very, very important because I'm seeing quite a few people make some mistakes, and they're quite preventable mistakes, but mistakes nonetheless, and it's costing a lot of people a lot of money. Okay, so stay tuned for that. All right, so let's just get started. Okay, let me just start here. Hopefully it comes up. All right, what we have here is a number of concerts are happening in Singapore, right, over the next couple of months. Okay, and Singapore really is the big hub. So there's been a lot of work in bringing world famous attractions and concerts into Singapore. So Singapore, as you know, is a very tiny country, so resource-wise we don't have a lot. In fact, we have nearly zero. Okay, and everything that we have is to some extent manufactured or brought in and showcased. Okay, so a lot of people do a lot of marketing work in the background to bring special acts like these into Singapore. So we have Coldplay, right, which is coming up in January. We also have Ed Sheeran in February, and then during the week there was an announcement showing that Ed Sheeran would be doing a second private concert, something a bit more intimate, and the Capitol Theatre is one of these places in Singapore that's a lot smaller, has some historical significance. And when it was announced, it was announced with a little kind of a very small audience. What do you call? Kind of a very small crowd in mind. Okay, so the Capitol Theatre doesn't seat like hundreds and thousands of people, right? Not like the big stadiums, but it's a much smaller crowd. So it's a very different side of Ed Sheeran. If you want to see something, I think he'll be a bit more personal there. Taylor Swift, of course, is coming in March, and I tell you, the tickets, I'm just facing so many issues, right? Not my issues, but I'm facing a lot of issues because a lot of people are asking me various things during that week. I've got people trying to come in, do the concert, see a few things, and then exit out on the same night, okay? And it's just like, are you going to be able to get a taxi, right? Even if you book a taxi or a Grab, are you going to be able to get one after the concert and go straight to the airport? The frank answer is no. Okay, and even if you were able to book something, it's just going to be gridlocked, traffic jammed everywhere, as it always is for every major event. Okay, so don't risk it. Try and shift the date. Okay, or the other way, which you can think about doing it, okay, is before the concert ends, leave first. Okay, before the concert ends, right? I mean, no one wants to do that, but you just can't miss your flight. Okay, that'll cost you quite a bit of money to buy a new ticket. Not, and provided that you can get a new ticket because everyone else is also exiting, right? So, be mindful of that. Do your planning properly. Okay. The other one is Rod Stewart. So for the older folks among us, yeah, maybe you want to go and see Rod Stewart. Okay, it's called Live in Concert One Last Time Tour. Okay, that's towards the middle of March. All right, so those are big acts that are coming through. So when we have all of these big things happening, it also means there are influx of tourists generally into Singapore. And when we get a whole lot of people, they don't just come in for the concert, they come in for other things as well. Universal Studios is going to be packed. Okay, you can guarantee it. So as a result, what has also happened is we've seen that Universal Express tickets, that is, the ability to jump the queues, right? Those tickets are sold out, okay? And, again, hearing the feedback from different people, a lot of people are getting frustrated, kind of saying, I'm trying to book a ticket, I can't book a ticket, can I buy a ticket at the door? So what I did for you guys is I went straight to Universal, okay, and you can see the screenshot here, right, at the bottom. On the right hand side, that's my chat with Universal Studios, and they've told me that, so this was as of yesterday, right, as of yesterday, they've got tickets until 25th of January, right, and then between the 26th of January and the 16th, right, of February, so that's like 3 weeks or so, it's all just sold out, right? The Universal Express tickets are all sold out, they don't have anything left, and from the 17th of February onwards, they still have tickets. So this was all up to date as of yesterday, all right? So if you do want to visit Singapore, try to, again, do your homework. Don't kind of come here and then get disappointed, or book your tickets first, book your air ticket, book your accommodation, and then after that get disappointed, right? Especially if you're not coming for the concerts, right? If you're just coming for, just to see Singapore, try and make sure that everything is available before you start booking your air tickets, okay? Universal Studios has also not released tickets, right? Beyond the 15th of March. So again, this was another complaint that has kind of surfaced throughout the forums. A lot of people are saying, I'm planning to come to Singapore. How come there's nothing available after the 15th of March? And again, I went to Universal Studios this afternoon and I asked them why, right? And then they said, okay, well, they're going to check. And then they came back and they said that the tickets are not released yet for the 15th of March onwards. Okay, so if you wanted tickets until this is just standard tickets, so we're not even talking about express stuff. We're just talking standard entry tickets to get you in, to join the queues, take the rides and all that stuff. No bypassing of queues, right? So we're not talking express, we're just talking standard to get in. There's nothing available, right, after 15th of March. So they've told me that they will release the new tickets, right, beyond the 15th of March in sometime in February, and then the conversation continues further down, and then I said, when in February, and they couldn't give me a date, and then they just said sometime in February. So okay, but when I do see something, I will let you guys know. All right, so that's one of the benefits of being a follower. It'll be announced on the page. All right, next thing. Chinese New Year is coming up, and I tell you, walking through all the shopping centers, walking through the supermarket, you will hear all the Chinese New Year music being played. It's a reminder that sales are starting to go up. Everyone is starting to stack up. It's kind of like COVID, running out of toilet paper, but it's it's not toilet paper. This is all the New Year's Eve, New Year's goodies and stuff like that. It's all started. Everyone has started buying things, throwing away old clothes, buying new clothes, and all that type of stuff. In addition to that, again, some of you guys are coming during the Chinese New Year period. You need to know what is available. Okay, the good news for you guys is Universal Studios is open. So if you have a look here. On this table, again, it's manually done. So I contacted each of these places to check and make sure that they were open. So Universal Studios is going to be open the whole way through. The Zoo, Gardens by the Bay, Sentosa, because Sentosa is just an island, okay, and within Sentosa you have Universal Studios, okay, which is a section of Sentosa. But in general, Sentosa is going to be open. Marina Bay Sands is going to be open, okay? So you'll see that on the Thursday and the Friday, yes, it's going to be open. And then on the first and second day of Chinese New Year, the Saturday and the Sunday, it's only open until about 5 p.m. And then after 5 p.m., it's closed, okay? So it's a bit unusual. Take note, right, if you're planning to go to the Sky Park. Singapore Botanic Gardens is 24, it's not 24/7, it's 5 a.m. until midnight. Chinatown retail. Okay, this one's a bit tricky. Chinatown, because it's Chinese New Year, a lot of people are off. Okay, they will just shut down the shops and stuff like that. So if you're looking at Chinatown specifically, okay, there will be some shops that are open. You know, the owners maybe have gone on some have already gone on holidays, right? But generally they'll be open on Thursday. Friday, some may even not open, right? Or Friday, the latest will be kind of until around lunchtime, and then a lot of people start going. Same with the people who go to work, like in offices during that day. It's like a lot of people will just disappear after lunch, right? And companies usually issue like, you know, take half day off and go home, right? Why? Because everyone prepares for the New Year's Eve dinner, okay? And it's in Singapore, it's called a reunion dinner, okay? Where everybody goes back to their hometown or back to their families, or back to Malaysia, right? And we'll come to the Malaysia bit, but they go back to Malaysia and go and see their families and have one dinner just before it turns New Year. So it's called the reunion dinner, where everyone goes back. So that's Chinatown. You'll see it's pretty much closed after Friday lunch. Saturday will be closed. Sunday will be closed. You get some few stores will open Monday, Tuesday, but this is Chinatown, so I think, you know, usually spreads to a week or 2 weeks where it actually shuts down. Okay, so just take note again, if you're trying to find food, you won't get a huge variety of food, right? It'll probably be less, but you know, things will still be open. Little India, right? That'll be open the whole time. Merlion Park is open, right? 24/7. It's there in Marina Bay. National Museum of Singapore will be open. Okay, now this next bit is talking about Malaysia. Okay, now Legoland is open. Okay, and I've checked with the bus company that runs into Legoland. It's called WTS Travel. So if you go to Legoland website, you will see that there is a bus company called WTS Travel, which is on their website. That is, in a sense, the official company that goes backwards and forwards and takes people between Singapore and Malaysia, right, just to go see Legoland. WTS is open. It's running. The buses are going to be running. But, okay, I will tell you, and I've highlighted it here, so don't say that I never told you, right? And it's all because of reunion dinner, and Singapore and Malaysia used to be quite close. In fact, back in the 60s, it used to be one country, okay? And then Singapore separated and gained independence, right, from Malaysia. So there are a lot of people with elderly relatives still in Malaysia, extended family still in Malaysia. So there is still that traveling back and forth between Singapore and Malaysia, right? On the Thursday, I tell you, it's going to be packed and jammed, and everyone is going to be going through the Woodlands Causeway and the Tuas Bridge. It's just going to be packed, okay? Thursday going out. Friday going out, don't even try, okay? Just scrap that whole idea, okay? Friday going out, it's even in the morning, people are just going to take leave and just go, okay? It's not going to be good going out. Coming back, right, on the Sunday afternoon, okay, I think pretty much Sunday afternoon, it's whatever you had going out, it's going to come back, right? So the Sunday afternoon is going to be packed. It's going to be jams everywhere. I'd say Monday probably as well, because a lot of people have Monday off because, you know, Chinese New Year is on the weekend, so you get an additional day off on Monday. So people will start coming back on Monday, because some people will start work on Tuesday. Okay. My biggest recommendation is do not go to Legoland at all. Do not even try to go to Malaysia. Okay. When we're talking about traffic jams, we're talking 8 hours, around 6 to 8 hours, maybe even longer. Okay, every year you see it in the newspapers, you see news stories, you hear testimonials saying I got, and it becomes a thing because you go into work on Tuesday morning and it's like, oh, so you went to Malaysia, how long did you sit in the jam? And it's like 8 hours, and it's no joke, it's seriously 8 hours and it just doesn't move. Okay, so just take note, right, especially if you're going to Legoland or into Malaysia. The recommendation is don't go, but if you want to go, up to you. Okay, so the rest of the main attractions in Singapore are still open. It's still running as usual. All right, now itinerary planning for Singapore. Last week, right, so back to our main feature topic this week. Okay, last week we looked at the big mistakes that people make. Number one is you book your air ticket straight away. That's wrong. Do not do that. Number two big mistake is they book their hotel. So you book your air ticket, you book your hotel, and then you try and figure out how am I going to plan my itinerary and stuff. Do not do it like that, okay? Because you end up booking the wrong number of days and then trying to either squeeze everything in or trying to figure out how to fill in the gaps, okay? And if you booked a 10-day holiday in Singapore and then you figure out, oh, okay, I've only got 3 days worth of stuff, you're just wasting the extra number of days, and it's just going to be like nothing much to do, not interested in anything else, that type of stuff, right? And it's a lot of wasted money. So I'm here to help you save your money, book the right number of days, right, for the things that you're interested in, okay? The other mistake is that people only choose the free stuff. It is more important to choose the things that you are interested in. Again, I said you're spending a lot of money on air tickets and hotels. You don't just want to go see the free stuff. You want to see stuff that's interesting to you. I can tell you that there are many parks. They're all free. But if I ask you to go and sit in the park, right, for 8 hours or something like that, or visit 3 parks, 2 hours each, you're going to go back after your holidays and people are going to say, so how was Singapore? Oh, yeah, I did the stuff that was free. I ended up sitting in parks, and it's not fulfilling to you, right? So do stuff that's fulfilling to you, know what you want to do, and do it, okay? There is also the other thing about making express side trips to Kuala Lumpur. You don't have the time, okay? If it's 1 day up, 1 day down, you're spending like probably half a day traveling, okay? So to those people who are planning on doing it in 24 hours to go up and come down, don't do it. You're wasting your time, okay? Again, you're not achieving your objectives. You're just going through, okay? That's all. All right, so the biggest thing is that a lot of people lack their planning. So there are a few pointers that we went through last week, right? This is the recap. Know yourself. Okay, don't just copy and paste what somebody else has done. Know yourself, know what you're interested in. Have a wet weather plan, right? So know what to do, like have a few different things. If it starts raining, I'm going to go and do this, okay? So have the flexibility. You don't need to book everything in advance, okay? Which we'll come to today. Plot the group, okay? Plot all of the different places that you want to go and see on a map, okay? Group them together into the things that are around the same area and then route your experiences. So make sure that you've done a walking route between them so you don't kind of go somewhere, backtrack, go somewhere and backtrack again. Okay, you're just wasting time. Go hit the things that are in the same area first and then move along. All right, estimate the time spent. That's best through the different forums, right? So you can ask questions, go and check people who have been to the attractions before and ask them, right? Booking of flights, right? Use Google Flights because that's the cheapest way to identify tickets. Go and watch the previous video. It'll be really, really helpful for you guys in identifying how to get the cheapest tickets. Okay, I can't stress that enough. You may think that you've gone through and found the best way, but if you don't use a tool, something like Google Flights, you will not be able to be sure that you've actually booked the best type of ticket. The tickets are also cheaper on certain days rather than other days, okay? So just take note of that. All right, and then the last thing here is that it's easier to make changes if you've booked tickets through the actual airline. Okay, so do not. Again, it's the experience of seeing a lot of people make mistakes. Do not go and book tickets from a third-party site like trip.com, trip.sg, trip.com, was it booking.com, agoda.com, eDreams, things like that, okay? Because if you want to go and make changes, most of the time they don't respond to you straight away, okay? And then you have to chase, you get anxious, you start posting things on the forums and saying, hey, I need to change the name on my ticket, and the person hasn't, or the company hasn't responded, and then you start panicking, okay? So as far as you can, work direct with the airline, okay? Now, so we've covered all the first 5 things. There are 4 more things to cover today, right? We're looking at hotel, looking at the transport review, air ticket and hotel booking, some tips there, and some advanced activity purchases, right? For those people who just don't feel so comfortable and just want to buy something in advance, you can go and do that, all right? But there are certain things that you need to take care of. All right, so let's have a look at this, all right? All right, so there was hotel accommodation, okay? There was this example of a person who went to a particular hotel, and these are all true stories. I don't make up my stories. True stories of a person who went and booked a hotel, and then after I ended up staying at the hotel, which was recommended by somebody else, and then upon arrival, they're in the room and they're just like, this isn't for us, and then they needed advice urgently as to how to find a different room, okay? That didn't go so well. It was a bit sour because the recommendation came from somebody else, and then it just wasn't very nice, right? But the person said, hey, it's, and I think they contacted me at like 11 p.m. at night or nearly midnight and said, I really need help. I need to find a new hotel. And I'm like, hey, it's 12 o'clock at night. It's a bit late to try and find another hotel, and everyone was in the room. Like, it was a fairly large group. Everyone was in the room, and I just said, look, it's a bit late. If you're gonna look for another hotel, you're gonna have to spend hours going to the different websites and trying to book different things, and then you've also got to settle the existing hotels payments. They're probably not going to refund you anyway. So all of these different issues, you got to be careful, okay? Maybe it's just better to stick it through, right? Stay at the hotel, just pass it through, close one eye, try and look at the positives, keep everyone's spirits. This was the group leader. Keep everyone's spirits up and really just kind of focus on the positives of the trip and try to ignore the hotel part, right? It was a bit late, right, to kind of have regrets about it, okay? The second one was a person who went into a kind of one of these dorms, and then ended up, she was the only female in the shared dorm, okay? And she didn't feel comfortable, and then she straight away checked out, and then it was like, find another hotel, right? Because she was the only female and didn't feel secure and safe, all right? So as much as I can tell you, go and read the reviews. All right, so what I wanted to do, right, there are 3 different websites, just general, okay, general stuff. There are 3 different websites where you can go through and look at the reviews. Booking.com and agoda.com are affiliated websites, so Agoda actually has Booking.com reviews inside. Okay, so what I'll do here, we'll just do a live demo here. Let me try. Okay, let's have a look at this one. All right, so I've just chosen this, right, because this is one of the places, right, Asphodel Inn. It's one of the places where a lot of people have talked about staying there, right, and they wanted to stay there and stuff like that. So what I do, right, is I go to Google Maps, okay. I love using Google Maps. It's not sponsored, but I love using Google Maps because it's a very good resource. It's got live information, and it's also got important information like reviews, okay? So you see, if you look at this particular place, it's got a review of 3.5, all right? Which to me looks okay. Not great, not really bad. 3.5 with 296 ratings here. And if I click reviews, right, you see, oh, okay, there's a few which are 1s and 2s, a lot of 3s. Quite the most number of reviews are 5. Okay, so that's good. There's quite a few 4s, but you get some 1s and 2s in there. So for me, what I would be interested in is finding out what these 1s and 2s are. Okay? Alright, so the way I do it is I would go here, right? And instead of just choosing, I think by default it says most relevant. Okay? Instead of choosing that, it's got other, like, different sources, right? But instead of choosing that, what I would choose is always the newest rating. I don't want to see high ratings because, of course, the high ratings, everyone will talk about, how great this place is and all that. And for me, I don't want to hear about how great the place is. I want to look at what's wrong with it. Why did people rate it 1s and 2s? Okay? So one way of doing it is you click the lowest rating. Another way of doing it is you click the newest ratings, because maybe in the past, right, it was really quite a bad hotel, and then they've improved over time, so that's why all the ratings were really low in the past. Alright, so things may have moved on. So I'd rather click the newest and see what people say. Alright, so this one, Grace, 28 minutes ago, 5 out of 5, great place to stay, recommended. Okay, we'll enjoy it. Another one, 5 out of 5, very value for money, 7 nights, no problem. Another one, 5 out of 5. So this again, they're all kind of, why is it 28 minutes, 29 minutes, 29 minutes, 30 minutes, and they're all 5 out of 5. To me it's a bit unusual that, you've got 4 reviews all around the same time. Just something to note, okay? That's for me. I'll kind of go, there's this other one here, 5 out of 5. Okay, there's a 3 out of 5. There's another 5 out. Okay, here's one. So this was done a week ago. Staff was nice. Rooms were tiny. You can't even put stuff on the floor. Shower was on the door. Not recommended. Okay, that's one. Here's another one. Another one a week ago. The rudest staff I've ever seen in my life. The reception guy is like evil. Don't know about that. I don't know if he has an idea. Don't know if he has an idea of one should behave if he's a receptionist of a hotel. Staff called a receptionist sitting. If you don't bring the remote while checking out, that guy rudely asks us to get it back, right? Showing the remote, bro, it's already written, da-da-da-da. Okay, while checking out, we heated our food with a kettle. Okay, so you got, okay, so this guy doesn't even talk about the rooms. This is more like staffing issues, right? Not happy with the communication with the reception staff. The rest is kind of okay, affordable, good place, great accommodation. Okay, here's another one, 2 out of 5. The bathroom was very small, the TV is old, ants on the wall, I think, and has some sort of thing, light is not that good. Okay, so I think it's more about the room. Here's another one, value for money, non-noisy area, clean and decent. Okay, love to stay here because nice bed sheets. Right, it was nice but a bit old for a budget hotel. A pleasant stay, location was amazing, good hotel, good environment, great room. Okay, alright, so now we're getting back to 4 weeks ago. Service attitude of the Indian man was not very satisfactory. So again, about the staff, okay? Okay, stuff like that, decent place, alright. Okay, alright, so you kind of get a rough idea what it's like, okay? Then, like I said, booking.com, it's a similar one to this. So, to Agoda. So if we go and click through Agoda, here's what you'll see. Again, Ashradale Inn, we click reviews, right? And this one you'll see it's a 6.7. Okay, and I want to see from the most recent. Okay, so most recent, decent stay but room needs improvement. Recently stayed, decent experience, cleanliness could have been better, needs some attention. The staff were average. Okay, comfortable stay, good, not bad, affordable and comfortable stay. Right, let's look at the next one. Good room of all facilities, very average. Okay, what's wrong with average? It was surprising for us. Room was very tiny, you can't even walk or put your luggage on the floor. Showers near the door. Book only if you don't have other options. Another one about really bad staff, not recommended, very, very poor service. Oh, when we walked into a room, there were cockroaches everywhere, and the bathroom was damaged and dirty, and nothing looked like it was in the photos, so they had to put us in a different room the next day. There's no hair dryer. Description says hair dryer. We had to pay deposit of $10. No pillows. Very disappointing experience. Okay, another one, exceptional. Right. Okay, so you see the reviews are very okay, here's another one. The hotel is in a run-down condition, especially the toilet cleanliness needs to be improved. Found cockroaches in the room. Staff not friendly at all. Okay, so what we can gather from here is that there's a general issue with the staffing. Okay, people are not happy with the way the receptionist was and the helpfulness of the staff and stuff like that. There is also an issue with the room size. Okay. And some complaints of cockroaches, but you know, the majority, it seems, in the last 4 weeks or so, looks quite okay. All right, so that's just something to keep in mind. I will give you another one. This is another one that is, I think it's this one, Bugis, right? So again, I'm just showing you how to do the reviews. And when I go on holidays, I do exactly this whole thing. Okay? Alright, so let's see here. Oops. Hold on, let's go back. Okay, so reviews. Ibis Budget, Singapore, Bugis. Alright? So you see a few more reviews, right? Still has 1s and 2s. I think every hotel has 1s and 2s. Right? Let's do the same thing. The newest ratings. Okay, this one, 2 days ago. I ordered on Cheap Hotels Hub, was cheated out of 1.5 million. How can you enter a fake website? Okay, so if you see a review like this, 1.5, is it fair to a hotel? Not really, because this person went and clicked into Cheap Hotels Hubs, which is nothing to do with you know, the hotel, right? So now you understand why the one out of 5. Is it really valid? I would say no. All right. Value for money is okay. It's good value for money. Room is clean, but there was no refrigerator, no waters, and 2 toothbrushes. This was a 3 out of 5. Here's a 1 out of 5. I couldn't sleep for 2 nights. Mattress was so hard. Couldn't rest well. If you like hard mattresses, maybe this is the one for you. Right? Not really recommended. Blah blah blah. 5. What else? 5. Here's a 4. Room is quite small with minimal amenities. Right? 4.6 looks okay. 5. Right? Budget hotel. Here's a 1 out of 5. We booked our hotel through the Accor website. I know it's a budget hotel, but the room did not meet our expectations for an Accor hotel. Right? I don't know if it's because we had the wrong expectation, blah blah blah. But the room was so bad we left early. Okay, overall good service, good location, but the average 150 a night, the room wasn't worth it. Okay, so this one's more a complaint about the value for the hotel. They probably think it's they overpaid for this type of hotel. Person knows Singapore hotels are expensive, some minor upgrades, so making recommendations on how they can improve. Had no windows, had black stuff all over the ceiling, restroom was old, maybe we got unlucky. Overall 1 star, the room doesn't match the cost. Okay, so it's about value. Alright, so if we have a look at this, let's just copy and paste, and I'll just put it in here. Okay, press, yep, and just click search. Not concerned about the price, I'm just looking at the reviews. So if we click this one, okay, again scroll down to reviews. It's a 7.3 on average, and again go and click most recent. So you see quick overnight, right? Looks okay. Here's an 8.4, easy access to transport, budget hotel, clean and close. Some of the towels need to change. Too long to use and no toothbrush. Okay, so whether you bring your own toothbrush, then you don't need to worry about these issues. Nice day, clean, easy access, exceptional, great location. Okay, very close to public transport. Okay, so the general consensus, people are comfortable here, good with public transport. That previous complaint about the getting cheated on the website or the poor value for money, you got to consider that yourself, right? But the actual room is okay. No, I haven't. Okay, there's one here. The hallway is dirty. The room was really small, crammed, unorganized, right? Dark all over the hotel. All right, whether that bothers you or not, it's up to you, right? So the best thing about this is you can go and review all the different comments, okay, and then you can make your own decision. Investigate the low rating and decide if you can accept it. For me, the comments about the value for money, right, for the Bugis Ibis, the value for money is like, okay, well, you knew even before you came, right? So I'm kind of discard that. And then the review about no toothbrush, well, I bring my own toothbrush anyway, so discard that. The things like that, right? And booking on the wrong scammy website, right? I would ignore that because it's nothing to do with the hotel. So to me, Ibis Bugis looks okay. It's up to you. I'm not endorsing Ibis Bugis. I'm not putting down Asphodel, right? I'm just showing you how to do your reviews. It's totally up to you. And this is also the reason why I do not do reviews for hotels, right? And I do not recommend any particular hotel, right? That's the reason. It's because it's so specific and different people have different expectations. All right. Now, the other thing that you've got to do, right, is have a look at your transport, right? So your transport, okay, you can plan this in advance, okay? And if we go back to Google Maps, I will show you, let's say we want to get to here, okay? So you want to go to Ibis, budget, all right? And then we just click directions. Just give you an example, Changi Airport. Okay, let's say we go from the MRT. Okay. And this is the really good thing. It will show you, right, if you take the green line, it'll take you 1 hour and 17 minutes, right? If you take the other option, which is this, which is the blue line, the blue MRT line, it's 1 hour and 19 minutes, okay? So, and the great thing is, you can also choose the time that you want to travel, right? So obviously, the time on, late at night is going to be different from the time peak hour on a Monday morning, for example, right? There are more trains that go through Monday morning. So you might want to say, hey, I want to say depart and choose the date here, right? Let's say Monday morning, and I want to go at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday, right? How long will it take for me, and it's Monday tomorrow, how long will it take for me to go from Changi Airport all the way to Ibis, right? It will take me 1 hour, right? If I take this line, which is the green one, right? Green MRT line, or if I click this, which is to go the downtown line, the blue one, it'll take 1 hour and 13 minutes. And it's predictive, right? So you can actually see on Monday it's going to take this amount of time. It's really good for planning. So going back to here, Google Maps is really the best resource that you can have, right? If you want to use other apps, I can't comment, right? Because I don't know how good they are with feeding of information. But here in Singapore, everyone uses Google Maps, okay? So I think the amount of information and the reliability is quite good. Okay, so routes can be planned in advance. You should plan, okay? Now, the other thing to take note of, which will not be visible to tourists, is taxis, okay? Taxis between 3 and 5 p.m., they usually run 2 shifts. There's a morning shift that runs to about 3 to 5 p.m. and there's an afternoon night shift that runs from 3 to 5 to midnight, Okay, and during that period of 3 to 5 p.m., the taxi shifts happen, and the taxi driver will drive to their like particular suburb, change with the relief taxi driver, and then that relief taxi driver will drive out and continue for the rest of the day. But that interchange happens usually in the suburbs. It doesn't happen in the city. Okay, so between 3 and 5, you will have on the top of the taxis, they'll say, I'm going to Hougang, or I'm going to Tampines, or I'm going to Pasir Ris. So there will be, there will be taxis that zoom past, right, with nobody in them, because the taxi driver doesn't want to pick anyone up because they're going to change shift. Okay, don't get offended, don't go and complain, because it is a known thing that they're going to change shift. They will just usually put the suburb name at the top. Okay. All right, so it's going to be hard to find a taxi between 3 and 5. They will look at you and then just drive past. Or they'll wind down the window, ask where you're going. Then you tell them, I'm going to Vivo, or I'm going to Sentosa, and then they'll wind up the window and just drive off. And you're just like, what? That's rude, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so I'm just giving you a heads up so you're not surprised. All right, the other thing with taxi or a Grab, peak hours, right? 7 to 10 in the morning on a weekday, 6 p.m. After 6 p.m. any night of the week is usually going to be expensive. Okay, so just take note if you're going to take a taxi or a Grab. If you want to take a bus, the bus option is risky. Why? Because if you miss your bus stop, the bus is going to keep going, right, down the road, turn left, turn right, wherever it goes. And then by the time you realize it, you're like 3 or 4 stops from where you should have got off. And then you get off the bus and you don't know how to navigate backwards because it's been going left and right and all over the place, right? I would advise you not to take a bus, okay? Just take the MRT. It's a lot easier. And then when you get out of the MRT station, you navigate around, ask people for directions. That is by far the easiest way. You will not get lost, right? But if you take the bus and get off at the wrong place, it's really troublesome. I tell you, even for me, I will get frustrated, right? And it's a risk, okay? The other thing is, bus captains may not be so proficient in English. Some are okay, but some, their primary language is Chinese, right? So if you're good with Chinese, it's okay. You can talk to a bus captain and tell him, can you tell me to where to get off, right, and stuff like that. And if the bus not so full, they'll like stop the bus where they're there, and then they'll shout to you and say, okay, you get off, something like that, right? So they can do that, but it doesn't always happen, and sometimes there's communication issues. Okay, so again, this is another thing you will not find in the tourist books. You will not find anywhere on any particular websites, but I tell you, as a local, this is the issue that you'll face if you catch a bus. All right. So the recommended way is to take an MRT and walk. So if you have not worn your walking shoes, right, and they've been in the cupboard for like months or years and not being used, and they're really kind of quite old but still look new, get new shoes. Why? Because when you start walking in it and kind of, after 1 day or 2 days, the sole of the shoe will come off, okay? It just happens, right? So what you should do is get good walking shoes, something that you're familiar with, or if you're getting new shoes, get them a few weeks in advance and wear them in back at home, right? Because you don't want to get brand new shoes, put them on in Singapore, then end up walking, 10,000 steps and then getting blisters, right? So wearing your shoes back at home. Okay, that's the high level transport review. Now, moving on to the air ticket and hotel bookings, I can't stress enough how you always have to recheck your information. Why? Because again, on the forums, we're getting a whole lot of these questions coming through saying, I've booked the wrong date, right? And then because they've booked through a particular third-party website, right, like eDreams or something like that, they're like, I've booked the wrong date on the ticket, I need to change the date on the ticket, and then I've emailed eDreams and they haven't responded, right? Always check the dates, okay? always check the dates. Check your name, okay? It needs to be your name as per the passport. If you need to put in a passport number, you put in the correct passport number, okay? It applies also to your SG arrival card. Every document that you do, you always got to be really careful, okay? Double check the dates, especially the +1 dates, okay? So I've just done a picture here, just from one of my previous flights, okay? Note this, right? The flight is 25th of November, this is a long time ago, 25th November 2016, and the flight is 1:45, okay? I tell you, I've made this mistake before, right? So I'm telling you to be careful. So I think, okay, 25th November, and I keep remembering 25th November, and then when I get closer to the date, I suddenly realize, oh, hold on, that means I've got to be at the airport the day before, which is the 24th of November at night time, to catch the 25th November at 1:45 a.m. because it's a very early morning flight, okay? So make sure you check on that, okay? Identify the time that you need to go to the airport. Now, before you go and pay for anything or click the buttons, make sure you ask somebody else to double check your work, okay? Again, especially like the booking of air tickets, right? You can't get the name wrong, otherwise you'll get you won't be able to board the flight. Spelling mistakes as well. Ask somebody to check. Yeah, I can't stress it enough, right? These are avoidable mistakes. They will cause you less anxiety, and they'll cause you not to spend additional money trying to fix it, okay? Just ask someone to check, right? If you don't trust yourself. Okay, the other thing is your passport. To come to Singapore, you need a passport with a minimum of 6 months till expiry, okay? 5 months, right, till your passport expires, go and get a new passport. Do not try and come in because you'll be rejected, okay? You need a minimum of 6 months till the expiry. Also check if you need a visa, okay? Different countries needs, some countries need a visa, others do not, okay? So check if you need a visa. This is the website here, right? It's Googleable, right? So you can just put, do I need a visa for Singapore? Go and check from the ICA website, okay? And it's a government website. Don't go and check it elsewhere. ica.gov.sg. That's the place you've got to go. Same thing with the SG arrival card. Go to the official website and fill in the SG arrival card, okay? Previously, when people flew, a piece of paper was handed to them, and you know, in some countries it still happens. Piece of paper is given, you fill out the piece of paper on the flight, right? And then you go in and you hand it to the immigration officer together with your passport. That's the old way. The new way is you fill it out online, okay? So that's what this SG arrival card is. It's free. I know there are websites out there charging $60 US, right? I don't know why. Maybe it's just easy money, right? They charge you $60 US. They tell you they're an agent or whatever, but just go to the official website, ica.gov.sg. It's Gov is Singapore government, right? It's a Singapore government website. SG arrival card. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it is official, right? Be extra careful with lots of scams and all that. If you go and give people your full name, like these third-party websites that charge you $60, if you give them your full name and your passport number, you know, all this type of stuff, it's a bit sensitive. You don't know where they're going to use it, how they're going to use it, right? So always go to the original source, which is the government website. Okay, next thing, just a quick update. This is the COVID situation in Singapore. If you've been following the live videos, there have been a few spikes, right? Back towards December time, right? Beginning of December, mid-December, that was really the spike, and now it's just come back down. So this was taken a couple of days ago. Yeah, we're good. We're good, okay? So anyone who is planning to come in, you're just welcome to Singapore. You don't need any vaccination, any additional vaccination. You don't even need to be vaccinated. You can have gone anti-vaxxer, right, the whole way, and you can still come into Singapore, right? Or if you've got a lapsed vaccination, right, it's been like a year since the last vaccination, you can still come to Singapore. just come. Okay? All right. Heading towards the end. I know it's very long. I've been talking a lot and my throat's a bit dry. Okay. All right. Heading towards the end. So, activity purchasing. All right. So, if you're going to buy tickets, the crowds are smaller on the weekdays than they are on the weekends. Okay. So, if you're going to places like Universal Studios and Singapore River Cruise, try to go during weekdays. The crowds are less. You don't need to worry about express passes if you go during the week, right? Because generally there are less people who go, right? You may want to consider buying a Universal Studios express pass, okay? But I would recommend wait until you actually go into the park, especially if you're going on weekdays, right? Because you might buy an express pass, but if you go on weekdays and it's like you look around and it's like the queues are only like 10 people or something. I'm not saying it's 10, but if it's like 10 people, then you're holding on to the express pass which you've paid $120 for, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have paid for this. It's only 10 people in the queue, okay? But you can actually decide to buy the express pass in the actual park. Okay, so after you've looked around, you see, oh, okay, it's like so many people here, you know, queuing up all over the place. Okay, I think I should get an express pass, and then you go to the kiosk, right? I think there's a few shops and kiosks and stuff, and then you say, I want to buy an express pass. Okay, you decide it when you're inside. Don't pre-buy it unless you're sure it'll be like, you know, Christmas time or something and it's going to be super packed and crowded. Then you go in and buy the express pass in advance. Okay, but normal weekdays, you know, if you shift the activities around, and again it goes down to planning, right? If you plan to go on your holidays during weekdays, it'll be better for you guys, right? That's what I would recommend, but it's up to you. Okay, and then the other places in Singapore, if you want to go Singapore Flyer, you want to go to the Sky Park, go upstairs and see like the top of Marina Bay Sands. If you want to go to, where else, the museums and stuff like that, you can just buy it on the day. Okay, those, even the zoo, right, you just buy it on the day. It is very rarely packed out. Okay, their capacities are much higher, and it's not as hot as the Universal Studios and the River Cruise. Okay, those ones are really the more hot places. All right, but do check out individual websites for closures and maintenance. Okay, so I went to the site for Gardens by the Bay, and Gardens by the Bay was like, okay, they close every month. And if you go and look on that particular site, they will show you which dates they're actually closed. Okay, so again, go and do your homework, right? Go to the websites, go do the checking, and then find out which dates they're closed, and then shift your itinerary around, right? Again, before you go and buy air tickets and book your hotels and stuff like that, go and do all the planning first, right? So that it's all clear. All right. We have a previous video on this, right? Whether you choose an EasyLink card or a tourist pass, or how you're going to go around with transportation. Okay, I guess you guys can go and read this later, and you can refer to the previous video where we've done a review on the differences and where to buy them and stuff like that. But the general gist, right, is that unless you are going to be traveling a lot, okay, unless you're going to be traveling a lot on public transport, just go with your home debit and credit card. Just tap in, tap out. That's it. You don't need to pre-register your credit card. As long as you've enabled it for having, what do you call, overseas usage. So there's, if you go to your local bank, right, usually there's a button that will say activate my card for overseas usage. So you click on that, and then when you go overseas, then your card will just work, right? So it works Visa card and MasterCard, right, network stuff. Just tap in, tap out. Okay, do you need an unlimited tourist pass? My opinion, no, right? Because each trip is like between $1 and $2, right, per trip. And if you're gonna do like 3 trips in a day, that's like $6 in a day, right? For example, but if you've watched the previous videos, a lot of the attractions, especially around Marina Bay, they're all walkable. I've even done a video to show you how to cover 10 different attractions within 2 hours. I say 4 hours, but actually I did it in 1 hour and 40 minutes. Okay, you can cover 10 attractions because they're all literally next to each other and stuff. So, but again, you follow a tour guide, the tour guide will not tell you they're next to each other, but I'm telling you it's next to each other, and we've got a video to prove it. Okay, so go and watch the past videos, right, and you will understand what I mean by just using your standard debit credit card. Okay, all right, and then the last one I've got here is talking about SIM card. I should have written SIM card. Okay, it's talking about SIM cards. There are 4 main providers in Singapore, right? And based on all the different criteria that I've listed here, right? The better option. Okay, it's not the only option, right? They're all between $12, $14, so it's not much price difference. Some are SIM only, some are eSIMs, right? So it depends on which provider you choose. But in general, I think the Singtel card has the best deal, right? And why? And in terms of network in Singapore, my view is that Singtel has the best network. Okay, and again, go to the previous video we've done just looking at SIM cards, right? Go and have a look at that, and then you can figure it out for yourself which one you think is more worth it and stuff like that. But again, I'm not endorsed or paid by Singtel. I'm not promoting Singtel. I'm just sharing with you my own analysis and what my findings were. Okay, so I think that's about it. It's been a long video, I think much longer than my normal videos. But there was a lot of information in there, right? And I do hope that you guys do a bit more planning, right? Because there are a lot of avoidable mistakes, which you can kind of skirt around. Okay, do not kind of just underestimate planning and just kind of wing it and book your own ticket and all that stuff. Really do the planning first, right? There is so much to see in Singapore. This week, right, I spent a few hours just kind of thinking about combing through the maps and all that, and I pulled up about 180 different attractions or things to do, experiences that you can have in Singapore. It's about 180 of them, okay? But it's a whole list, and it's all there, and it's like there's so much to see, so much to do. Even my own family hasn't kind of gone through and done everything, but if you do want to kind of experience more, there are things there, right? But firstly, you've got to know what your purpose is in coming to Singapore. Okay, don't just copy and paste someone else's itinerary and say I want to do all of that, because you need to have a think about what would interest me. Just think about the example that I gave earlier, right? I can tell you, go and see all the free attractions. You can go and see the Merlion, that's for free, right? You can go and see the Spectra Light Show, that's for free as well, right? But if I told you want to go and see, you can go to McRitchie Reservoir. Okay, it's an 11-kilometer hike, and you're just going in one reservoir loop. For me, I love going to a reservoir and going to do that 11-kilometer hike. But if you're a tourist and you're here, I can tell you that's free, right? But are you going to be going back to your home country and saying, oh, I went for a hike, 11 kilometers, and that's how I spent half a day? It may not be the most exciting story, and you kind of sit back and think, maybe I should have spent a bit more money and gone to the top of Marina Bay Sands, and had a look up there and taken a few selfies and pictures and stuff. Or maybe I should have gone to Universal Studios because I really wanted to go on that Transformers ride that everyone's talking about. I wanted to go and experience that. So really, do your planning. Sometimes, when you're spending hundreds of dollars, right, on airfares and tickets, you don't want to be stingy on an $80 ticket to get into Universal Studios, and instead spending that $80 just walking around McRitchie Reservoir. right? I mean, it's nice, but you know, you don't want that to be your story about Singapore. Okay, so these are just a few tips. I hope everything goes well with your planning. Okay, yeah, and just wish you a pleasant week. If you do need advice on planning, right, you can put it into the group chat, right? Ask your questions there. If you need personal help with your planning, right? Your planning, then you can also ping me as well, right? And increasingly, I've seen a few people reach out to me to ask them to customize the itinerary for them, and that's something that I've done as well, right? But for that one, you've got to talk to me separately about that, okay? So there are a few different things, few different options. I hope you guys can have a good time preparing your DIY travel journey, okay? And wish you a pleasant week. See you guys later. Bye.